CBP is facing an unprecedented humanitarian and border security crisis all along our southwest border. We are now on pace for over 100,000 apprehensions and encounters with migrants in March, with 90% of those, 90,000 people, crossing the border illegally.
The Customs and Border Protection Commissioner with a really extreme warning about the severity of the migrant crisis at our southern border, prompting the president to tweet this out a little earlier. Quote, Mexico is doing nothing to help stop the flow of illegal immigrants to our country. They're all talk and no action. Likewise, Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador have taken our money for years and do nothing. The Dems don't care. Such bad laws may close the southern border. Joining us now is Texas Congressman Brian Babin, who has firsthand experience with the crisis. So, Congressman, first of all, how could you close the border without killing a lot of border businesses?
Well, that'd be a very, very bad thing to have happen to our southern border. But we have never experienced this type of crisis. I mean, we just heard CBP Commissioner McAleenan, unprecedented crisis at the border. We continue to hear the Democrats say it's a manufactured crisis. Not true. I'm the Border Security Caucus in the House of Representatives chairman, and I've been down to the border 4 times in the last 3.5 months. And I can tell you I have seen some things that are very scary. And if we don't start fixing this problem, as McAleenan just said, the system is about to collapse. And if we don't fix it, so is our country. Our country's going to collapse as well. I don't see how we can continue to have this type of influx of millions of people. We're on track for 1 million illegals to be released into our country by year's end. There are thousands of people that are quarantined because of contagious diseases down there on the border. There's well over 100 emergency situations, medical situations per day. This is out of control, and if the Dems don't help us, I see nothing that can be done other than the president do something like that.
Congressman, this is Gary Kaltbaum. Thanks for being with us. Often we hear sometimes that politicians will come out and say one thing, but actually do other things behind closed doors. Is there any talk from the other side that, yes, we know this is an issue, it is a big problem, but we have elections coming up, or are they just standing pat and that's the end of it, and we're going to have to do some executive orders or something like that?
I think the only way we fix this is with executive orders. I have talked to some of my colleagues across the aisle, Democrats, who have said, yes, we've got to fix. There is definitely a problem down there. But the leadership of that party seems to be just dug in on this issue. They want open borders. As we've seen since they took the majority in the House of Representatives, their agenda has become so extreme, I think it's scaring a lot of Americans. And open borders is one of them. Yeah. And you've seen many other ones as well.
Yeah,
so
Congressman?
Yes,
open borders, very scary. But what about the operation of the cartels? You know, there's a conveyor belt system right now where these migrants are being bussed in and then they cross the border. Right. These cartels are making millions of dollars off these desperate immigrants. What about getting some help from Mexico or El Salvador and the other countries and stopping them?
Absolutely. I think Mexico, we've had our hopes have gone up and then they've been dashed, as we've seen since President Trump has been trying to deal with the new president down there in Mexico. But they do. The Mexicans can help us, and I'm hoping that they will come forth. This is an unprecedented crisis, and we have to absolutely get a handle on this. The cartels, as you said, are exploiting this situation on the border. While these people are thousands of them coming across the border in caravans and en masse, they are the human traffickers, the cartels, the sex trafficking and the drug trade is just rampant down there. They're making a lot of profits off of the problem that we're experiencing down there.
Congressman John Layfield here, a fellow Texan, by the way. So welcome to the show from someone who speaks your language. I grew up in Sweetwater, Texas, and I agree with you about the border. I agree with you about securing the border. Every president since Reagan has said they're going to do it. No president has been able to do it. But I want to switch gears a little bit. What happens when you do it? On the ranch I worked on when I was a kid in Sweetwater, there were a couple of illegals there who had been there for 15 to 25 years. They had become an indispensable part of the community. You could go to every rancher out there and they'll have the same story. They are there illegally, though. What do you do once you secure that border? What do you do with people like that who have been here in this country for 15 to 25 years?
Well, you know, we were willing to deal with some of these issues last session, and we still couldn't get the Democrats on. They keep talking about DACA. They keep talking about blanket amnesty, et cetera. And we tried to work with these people, and we were unable to do so. But I have been down to that border, and I'll tell you something, John. I've been to Sweetwater as well, but I've been on the border of Arizona. I've been on the border in Texas in several areas, and also out San Diego, talk to ranchers, and let me tell you something. These ranchers are ready to have this border secured. They've been victims. Some of their families are deceased now because they've been murdered by criminal aliens. We've seen the sanctuary city problems that have happened, and this is probably one of the biggest mysteries to me in our country, that we have local and state politicians, even federal politicians, that would put the safety of criminal aliens ahead of their own citizens. It's incredible. I can't see how any citizen would vote for a politician like that. So we have to cut the money off to these sanctuary cities. But yes, we want a workforce. We've got to have a workforce, and this is why we have to have an immigration policy that will give us that workforce. But we have to know who's coming in, how long they're going to be here, what they're going to be doing, and whether they're sick, and whether they're going to be just getting on public services, which so many thousands of these people are, and overwhelming our school districts and all these public services.
Congressman Babin, we really thank you for coming on. You obviously know a lot about this subject. We'll invite you back, okay?
Thank you, David. Good to be with all of you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.